Welcome back to the show. Going to dive right in with our next guest because we have so much to talk about. I'm joined by author Elizabeth Howell. She is the author, or co-author, I should say, of Leadership Moments from NASA. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Elizabeth, let's take me back to 2014 because the inspiration behind this is a simulated mission to Mars you did back then. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
It was called the Mars Desert Research Society, and it's run by a nonprofit called the Mars Society. And I was in there with a bunch of people that came from different walks of life, a lot of diversity, a lot of different perspectives. And that made me realize that there is a good challenge in trying to be implementing leadership within such an environment, because obviously you're always tired, you're on a schedule, you're very, very isolated. But that if you can sort of bring together these different perspectives, and you're going to do quite well. And that became the impetus for a lot of my writing that eventually, fortunately, turned into this book that Dave was so kind to co-author with me.
And there's sort of three key moments that you talk about in this book, key moments of leadership. Can you walk me through those three key moments?
Well, I would say the first key moment was the actual formation of NASA, because at that time there was sort of a impetus within the U.S. government to figure out how they were going to want to position a space program during a larger policy moment, right? Because there was going to be a Cold War that was going on, and they wanted to figure out the right way to approach it. And the way they decided to do it was by a civilian approach. And I would say the second key moment is probably the landing on the moon. That's the one that most of us remember, or at least are aware of, from 1969. It was a time when a lot of different countries, including Canada, actually came together to get these people there safely and back again. And then the third one, actually, I would say it's almost like today. That would be the moment when we have a lot of commercial companies, smaller companies, and again, Canada is very much involved in that, bringing forward innovative ideas. And so now we're seeing self-landing rockets, we're seeing space tourism, we're seeing a lot of excitement among students and among younger people to really make space an innovative place for the future. And that's why it's just so exciting to tell that story.
You mentioned Dave. Of course, you're talking about Dave Williams, astronaut Dave Williams. Tell me about the perspective that he brought to the book.
Well, Dave obviously has flown in space a couple of times. He's a spacewalker. He's also a person who managed many space flyers and other people in the space industry from the ground. He's run a hospital network. He has a diversity of experiences going all the way from underwater to into space, working in all of these isolated environments with diverse individuals. And so he had that on-the-ground lived experience that really was helpful whenever we were trying to talk about how people would approach stuff. And he also had the leadership connections. Many of the people that you see mentioned in the book, he either knew directly, or the interviewees in the book knew those people that we were mentioning. And so we found that that network really helped us in terms of building it and making sure that it was true to the story of what was actually going on at NASA and other space agencies through history. When
it comes to space travel, there's often a lot of criticism, with the money that's being spent, and, it could be better spent in different places. Your reaction to that argument?
I would say that's a very valid reaction, and that we should be asking questions of all of our leaders, from the local all the way up to the federal level and even internationally, to make sure that we are spending all of our budget money accordingly. But also at the same time, we can use space as a way to make things better for people on Earth. And so, for example, we do a lot of satellite observations up in north, which helps us with climate change, global warming. And we also have some technologies that could be helping people living in rural or isolated environments. And so it's kind of two sides. So you have to make sure that you're doing it in an informed way, and that you're also keeping other priorities in mind. But I think that there is potential to do space and other things at the same time.
What do you hope people take away from the book?
I would hope that actually they could see ways of implementing that sort of leadership in their own communities, because really space is about trying to bring down the benefits to people on Earth at the end of the day. It's not supposed to be about the 600 or so people who have been up there. And so I would say try and read the book with the lens, especially if you're sort of starting to come into the field, about how you can take some of those leadership ideas and bring them into your own life. Because these people, just like the rest of us, they have faced adversity. They have faced moments of illness, or moments when, people were not doing so well. And they really need to think hard and critically about how to continue to deliver results even when things are not easy. I mean, that's true of most of us right now with this coronavirus pandemic. And so the more that you're able to relate those learnings to your own life, the easier it's going to be to take it and to benefit your own household, your own community, all the people that surround you. And so that, I think, would be sort of the key message for anyone, I would hope, reading this book.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And congratulations to you and Dave on the book.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. All right, that does it for this edition of Daytime Auto. Of course, we'll be back live tomorrow. Make sure you tune in at 2 p.m. And if you miss it at 2 p.m., you can also catch us at 6 and 11 p.m. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.